Hi, everybody, and welcome aboard to Local Matters, where living local never felt so good. So, 'tis the season to be jolly. You know, we are in the season of giving, and we know that giving is doing for others with no expectation of gain. Perhaps you bought a gift, or maybe you made one. Better yet, you've decided to give of your time. But no matter how you decide to give, giving means different things to different people. And when we come back, we're going to be joined with a woman who wanted to stop by Local Matters to share how you too can be involved in the giving business all year long. You know why? Because if it's local, it matters.
Dance. Let me see you move.
Love never felt so good. Dead and died, they never could. Not like you. Oh.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks for joining us. You know, we are in a season of giving, but for many, giving is a year-round activity. And to help us better understand how you too can be involved in the giving business now and as we lead into 2018 and beyond is Dr. Gretchen Richards. She is here with us from Jacksonville State University, and it's good to have you aboard, Dr. Richards.
Well, thank you for letting me drop by.
Yes, you decided to come on by. You probably say, yep. And the fact that
Yes.
you live close enough, I actually can say that you dropped on by.
That's right.
So, you know, Dr. Richards, you serve two distinct different roles there at the university, I understand. You are the Director of Program Evaluation. You also tying in with the Department of Emergency Management as well.
Correct.
So help me to understand your role there as a program evaluator, if you will. What is that? What do you do there?
I can't use the title to define
Right,
the title.
you can't say you evaluate programs.
All right. That particular function is to look at the research design and evaluate the effectiveness of it and ensure that this grant-funded study, which is core under the School of Education, and it is approximately a $24 million grant. It's two grants
Wow.
that look at a professional learning platform to assist teachers in collaboration, communication, creativity, critical thinking, in order to use technology in the classroom. I mean, think about this. Technology as a consumer product has only been in existence about 25 years.
Yeah, I can believe it. 'Cause
So-
I didn't grow up with it.
Neither of us did.
Yeah, right.
So to think about how to help teachers learn and be proficient and be able to teach, and so that their students and the student outcomes can help them be more ready for college and career is very important. So that is a innovation, investing in innovation I3 grant.
Okay.
And then in my off time, I have some cybersecurity grants that I'm working with Dr. Francia.
Okay.
And initially, when I started with Jackson State,
Right.
I was assistant professor in emergency management.
Right. I was getting ready to say to you because you are also. I was going to say, wait a minute, because you are there at the Department of Emergency Management, because that's where I met Dr.
Correct.
Richard when I got my, second master's there at the university.
Yes.
And so you were online, and I didn't meet you till much later into the program in Department of Emergency Management. And so when I started a few years ago, people would say, "Well, Dottie, what are you going to do with a Department of with an emergency management degree? Isn't that a first responders? What do they do?" And I had to let them know, no, it's an entire framework
Exactly.
of working with communities and people in distress. So your role there as in the Department of Emergency Management
has now transitioned to adjunct professor. And when I transitioned into administration, I was still asked to maintain my service to the field.
Yes.
So I still work with Division G of the Alabama EMA when we have a state of emergency or large scale event. I still am active with the Functional Access Needs and Disaster Task Force, which is in the governor's office. And then I am a board member of Catholic Social Services and an ad hoc disaster committee member where we have just completed and received full backing of the new emergency response plan for Birmingham's diocese.
Okay.
And now we will be entering the continuity of operation planning.
With all of that experience, wow, with all of that experience that you have and the different types of collaboration that's going on there, you have been working to really help a lot of students and families who
Yes.
were earlier in the year were affected by 3 major hurricanes that really hit many, many different communities in really some tough ways. Hurricane Harvey, Maria, and Irma, really impacting communities. And because of your expertise and the collaboration that you have, I know that you have been working really hard, and you've been working and also involving local students as well. We've got to go to break here in a minute, but when we come back, I really want to talk about that. How have you been working with the local communities? And I know people might say, well, we're into now, it's later in the year.
Right.
How it's still not too late, because you know what? People are not back in their homes. They're not sitting around the Christmas tree. Many people are not. This is the season and time of giving. So we wanted to make sure that we bring this information to you. So when we come back, we're going to be talking about what you're doing, Dr. Richard, to really engage and work with communities, and how you having local people to be involved as well. So don't go away. We'll be right back. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Local Matters, where living local never felt so darn good. I'm Dottie Rimpsey, and I'm joined with Dr. Gretchen Richards. She is here with me on set here from Jacksonville State University. And if you're just joining us, we were talking earlier in the show about the 2 different distinct roles that Dr. Richards that she has there at the university. She is there as a program director of, she's a director of program evaluation.
Right.
Also, you are an adjunct professor in the Department of Emergency Management.
Correct.
That's where I first met Dr. Richard a few years ago, working on my second master's, and got a chance to work with her and to learn from her about what it means to really help communities during times of distress. And one of the first things that I learned as a student is that we know that emergencies are going to, and disasters are going to continue to happen. In fact, this is only, sadly to say, we're only kind of in the beginning of what we can expect in terms of disasters. And so the profession is so needed. During our earlier segment, you shared with us the 2 different roles that you have there at the university.
Yes.
And you're working to really bridge the gap for communities who really were hit hard earlier this year in August and September for Hurricane Harvey, Maria, and Irma. Help us to understand, Dr. Richard, how are you working to really bridge gaps for folks there? How are you doing that here?
Well, after Hurricane Harvey, and think about this, Hurricane Harvey, according to the city of Houston stormwater, they estimated 1 trillion gallons of water was dumped on that region in 4 days. 1 trillion gallons. Now, that's just Houston. It was really a greater portion of the state of Texas, and in 37 days, 500 roads were reopened. So a month of over 500 roads not being passable. Think about that. It's we're used to, in this region, tornadoes and the occasional snow and ice, and those are major. Snow and ice are probably the most relatable compared to a hurricane because it covers a wider area for a longer length of time.
And I do want to talk about that because we just about a week ago, we ourselves were found in another predicament where we weren't expecting that the amount of snow that we received.
Right.
So, but there you are working with those counties.
Right. So I went to Dr. Turner, Tommy
Okay.
Turner, who's the new dean of the School of Education,
Okay.
and Dr. Joseph Akpan, who is an associate professor. He wanted to help as well. And we discussed how disasters has no boundaries, and schools face as much destruction and devastation as other areas of the community. And it's very difficult. I think sometimes when you see a disaster, you think of a shotgun approach.
Yes.
You know, there's so much destruction and everything. What do we do? How can we help?
Yeah.
Well, we decided to narrow it into our world, which is the School of which is education. Let's select a school district that had received severe impact
Okay.
and help them. And that was Humble ISD, because they had 7 schools totally submerged in Hurricane Harvey. And they're still busing their children 45 minutes to an hour one way. And something to consider, about 4.5 million have been given in disaster assistance for unemployment. Over 160,000 residents just in the Houston area were flooded. We're not sure how many small businesses are going to return. So think about this. Your children are being bused 45 minutes to an hour. Your schools are submerged. What about those children's homes? What about their parents and their employment? So let's help the children find some level of normalcy by giving them the supplies they need and help them stay in some type of a daily routine so that they can start to overcome this. And there's different things that you need to do with children to help them.
You know what? And I'm glad you said that too, Dr. Richard. I really am. I created a full screen last night in preparing for our show today. If you will bring that up for me, Erin, I want to take a look at that. When you mentioned children that have been impacted, as adults, it's terrible all the way around. But at least we can somewhat, rationalize, think logically about what we're going to do, how are we going to get ourselves out of this, where are we going to go for help. But when you have children, some of the things that I created, and when you're working with kids, it's really, I have a few of those items there talking about the concerns that the family may have.
Correct.
Really explaining what is happening, what's going on. But this one really, I thought, was really encouraging children to ask questions about what is happening to them.
Right. Because children, I had one child say to me one time, why can't I talk in this support group? It was a group of adults. And I said, because it's a different level. And they go, but I have the same feelings and emotions that my mommy has.
Yes.
And they do. And they're just little adults. And so it's really important to validate their concerns, explain to them on their level what they're feeling and why they're feeling it. And when you're having a major emotional, let them understand it's not them.
And it's going to be okay.
And it's going to be okay. And it has nothing to do with what they've done. It's the circumstances, and work through it together.
Well, you know what? When we come back, we got to go to break. When we come back, I want to finish our conversation about how do we help children, and really what Jacksonville State University, how we are now. The university, it's really poised now to really wrap its arms around communities, not only here local, but beyond, as you are doing there in the Department of Education. When we come back, we're going to talk more about that. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Local Matters. Well, living local never felt so good. I'm Dottie Rimpsey, and I'm joined here this morning with Dr. Gretchen Richards. She is a professor there at Jacksonville State University. She's an adjunct professor there in the Department of Emergency Management, but she's also the director of program evaluation. So two distinct roles there at the university. We've been sitting here all morning long really talking about a number of different items as it relates to emergency management, but also ways that you can give and you can help out during this holiday season, because that's very important. But ways that you can give beyond just this holiday season, but also going into 2018. Before we went to break, we were talking about children. When disasters and things are happening, it's very important to talk to them, because they're, as you mentioned, they're little adults. They can understand that things are going, but they need to be reassured that it's going to be okay.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be okay, because when they need to understand that adults are working with them and working with their families to make sure that things are going to be okay. But it's not just their family that's working for on their betterment, but it is also other organizations, institutions. Jacksonville State University is really, as we mentioned earlier, you and I were talking, have really found themselves now working more in collaborative ways with the communities. You mentioned Dr. Beeler, one of his mantra you mentioned to me earlier this morning. If you would share with our viewers what that is.
Well, Beeler has developed the mantra of TIES, which is transformation, innovation, and engagement for success.
Yeah.
And so he has used this framework to develop cutting edge academia programs or academic programs, community outreach, and has tried to help not only Calhoun County but surrounding counties revitalize, as well as, again, doing outreach. One of the things we talked about children earlier, this hurricane season was very unusual because we had actually 2 Category 4 hurricanes strike the mainland in one hurricane season, and much less 10 days apart. So Hurricane Irma, after we started focusing on Humboldt, struck Florida, and then within 10 days, Hurricane Maria, of course we know, struck Puerto Rico. And what many people is that the outer bands of Irma had also hit Puerto Rico. So they were actually struck by 2. Really, Irma could have been a Category 5 hurricane. I think she was 2 miles under the limit. But anyway, so we selected Broward County as a second school because they not only sustained damage from Irma, but during their time of need, opened their arms and accepted 200 military families and approximately 1,000 children from Puerto Rico to their school to assist them in their time of need. So we thought this was the best way, is to help 2 school districts, not one. And we've received a number of supplies. I think I have 29 boxes that I have inventoried.
This is it all at Jacksonville State University?
It's all at JSU.
It's all at JSU. And so right now, if people are listening during this holiday season, this is a time that no other time of the year people really do. They really do want to give, and they're looking for ways to give. How can people do that?
Well, right now, the School of Education has set up a School Supply Drive Foundation account. So you don't even have to go to JSU. You can just go to our website, jsu.edu.
Okay.
Go to the University Advancement, and there is a Donate Now.
Donate Now.
A big red button.
Okay.
And when you hit the button, 4 more buttons will show up. You want to select the Donate button. Find the School of Education, and under Remarks, place School Supply Drive. And then that money will go to that account. And it is tax deductible.
Deductible, okay.
So, you can give, but it gives back. And then that way we will divide the money between the 2 school districts. And we really hope to be able to give them and show them how we support and how Alabamians understand and have the compassion for those that are in need. Children can also give.
Yes.
They can write cards.
They can write cards.
They can donate paper.
And a lot of these things
but-
can be done right online. And
Yeah.
they can probably can they submit and hit and attach images and things like that?
I don't know if they can
If they
through
can
the
actually-
donate
okay.
now, but if somebody wants to do something, they can contact me
Mm-hmm.
by email or phone, and be more than happy to talk to them and see
Okay.
what we can do to continue help.
Well, you know what? We've already. It's time to go. I
my
cannot
gosh.
believe it. I know it's time to go, Dr. Richards. It's so good to see you. I'm so
It's
glad
so great to
so
see
glad
you
came
as
on to
well.
talk
Thank
about,
you.
Again, to talk about ways that you can give that really are meaningful ways. If you're looking for again a you said it was tax deductible.
Yes.
You're looking for ways to give. It's not something that you should feel like, oh my gosh, if I don't do it right now, it's too late.
No, it's never too late to give.
It's never too late to give. It's never too late to give.
Yeah.
So again, one more time, you can just simply go to the JSU website and go under what area is it again?
University advancement.
University advancement, and then you can find the information there to donate. You know why? Because if it's local, it matters. So we hope that you'll do that. Have a great time. Bye.